Dear Tauruses, welcome to my YouTube channel. And in this video I'm going to talk about the transits for the month of November. Can you believe it's already November? It's crazy. I don't know where time has gone. But anyway, so right now as I'm recording this video, we are in the midst of the eclipse season. Like we are between two eclipses right now. And so the energies are intense. But the good news is that in November, towards the end of November, we will be back to normal. Like, well, at least the new normal. We will get used to it. The dust will settle from the eclipses. So let's see. November, Tauruses, for you, November is a very relationship-oriented month because the majority of November, the sun is in Scorpio, which is your opposing sign. So November, you are very much focused on relationships. And then towards the end of November, the sun is going to enter your 8th house. So from relationships, flirting, dating, things get more serious when the sun enters your 8th house. Yeah. And so, this year, this year we have like Uranus and Jupiter in your sign, in Taurus. So all of those planets in Scorpio, when they pass through Scorpio, they will be making opposition to those planets in your sign. So it should be quite eventful for you, Tauruses. And let's see. But thankfully, even though November is right after those eclipses, it's pretty boring. There aren't many like earth-shattering aspects in November, and I guess that's good. So at the very beginning of November, we have a series of oppositions. The very first one is between the Sun and Jupiter. So the Sun in Scorpio is going to make an opposition to Jupiter in Taurus, in your sign, on the 10th degree. And so your beliefs and your partner, they will be in opposition. But don't worry, like I wouldn't say you're gonna have a fight on that day. No, I wouldn't say that, because Jupiter is a benefic. Even when it's involved in a bad aspect, it still produces like not bad results. Like it's not like traumatic or dramatic. Okay. And then on the same day, November 3rd, Venus in Virgo is going to make an opposition to Neptune in Pisces. Now, this one, again, Venus is a benefic. It's a minor benefic. Uh, and when it makes an opposition to Neptune in Pisces, this gives this delusional vibes. Because Neptune is foggy. It's delusions, like illusions. And Venus is love, so like this aspect screams like rose-tinted glasses. Yeah, so I would say November 3rd can be a romantic day, but at the same time it's the kind of romantic day when you ignore all the red flags. Yeah, but still keep in mind that this aspect is temporary. It's active for only a day or two. Yeah. And next, on November 4th, we have the third opposition. So this time, Scorpio Mercury is going to make an opposition to Uranus in Taurus. And this is happening on the 21st degree of those two signs. This one screams sudden ideas, like sudden flashes of brilliance, because Mercury is thoughts. Uranus is also like very mind-oriented, like because Uranus is thought to be the higher octave of Mercury. So again, when these two come together in an aspect, it's like sudden flashes, sudden thoughts. Okay, flashes of brilliance. So pay attention. Maybe you'll get like a great idea on that day, or maybe you'll get like a breakthrough in communication with your partner. Yeah, if you need to have some important talk, I would say November 4th might be a good day for that. Even though it's an opposition, something might trigger you guys to do that, to have that talk. Yeah. And so on the same day, on November 4th, Saturn is going to station direct on the 0th degree of Pisces. If you guys remember, Saturn started retrograding in June on the 7th degree of Pisces. So now it's finally gonna come to a station and it's gonna turn direct. And so, dear Tauruses, for you, Saturn in Pisces, that is your 11th house. So for the next 2 years, you'll be resolving issues around your friendships. Because 11th house is a house of friendships, like-minded people, groups, organizations, like political parties, where people who don't know each other, like masses, they come together in order to work on a common goal. That's 11th house energy. And so for the next 2 years, you will be working on resolving issues around those matters. Because Saturn, if you think about it, he's like an inspector. Think of it like the houses, astrological houses, are branches of a company, so to speak. And so imagine an inspector coming from the main office, the headquarters, and they come to your branch and they check to make sure that everything is working fine, making sure that everyone is doing their job. Those who don't do their job, they are kicked out. Those who do their job, they are rewarded. So Saturn is that kind of inspector. He's very strict, but at the same time he's fair. So when Saturn comes into that area of your life, that means Saturn is gonna fire friends who are no longer good for you. Like fire, I mean, it means like Saturn will kick out friends who are no longer needed in your life. They serve their purpose. Your karmic contract is done. While others, it is also possible that you make a friend that is going to be in your life for a long time, because Saturn is longevity. Yeah, and I hope you guys can hear me despite all these helicopter noises. And so yeah, Saturn in Pisces, and because Saturn is on the 0th degree of Pisces, it's very prominent too right now. But overall, Tauruses, Saturn in Pisces means it's going to be making a sextile aspect to planets in your sign. So this transit is not too bad. Okay, when it was in Aquarius, that's when it made square aspect to your planet, and that was frustrating. It must have been frustrating. But now, Saturn in Pisces, it's good. And Tauruses, those of you who were born in 1995, 1996, you guys have Saturn return. Okay, especially those who were born in early 1995. Yeah, you guys are having Saturn return. So these are important times in your life. If it feels like there are too many obstacles or frustrations, don't worry. All of this is temporary, and Saturn rewards. Okay, so remember that. Next, so on November 5th, we have the last quarter moon in Leo, which means we are right in the middle between a full moon and a new moon. So after this, after November 5th, don't waste energy trying to start anything new. Use that week to wrap things up that started with the previous new moon. Recharge your batteries and get ready for the next new moon. Okay, for the events that will come with the next new moon. So yeah, like November 5th. Make sure you get rest, okay? And don't feel guilty if you don't feel like doing anything after November 5th. Next, on November 8th, Venus is going to enter Libra. And Venus will be happy because Venus rules Libra. It's comfortable in that sign. Imagine a pink mansion, like the Barbie kind of house. That's Venus in Libra. Before this, Venus was in Virgo, and Venus hates being in Virgo. Imagine this popular girl who's like long nails, manicure, made up, and like wearing designer clothes, and she is forced to do like manual job, like cleaning bathrooms. Like that's what Venus in Virgo feels like. Okay, for Venus. Yeah, but when Venus enters Libra, finally, Venus can do fancy things. Venus can be her glamorous self, so to speak. And for you, dear Tauruses, that is your 6th house. And so your daily routine gets like a pleasant, charming boost. Your work should feel pleasant for the next month, like sort of month. Like Venus spends like 3 or 4 weeks in each sign. Yeah. And so yeah, Venus in the 6th house. Yeah, work matters. Communication with employees, co-workers should be pleasant. If you need to hire someone around this time for housework, it should be pleasant because Venus is very graceful. she's gonna give you someone who is like a reliable, a decent person, basically. Yeah. Okay, so on November 10th, we have Mercury entering Sagittarius. And so Mercury has been in your relationship house, making you have conversations with your partner around shared resources and stuff. But then, like maybe flirtations. But then when it enters Sagittarius, yeah, uh, the talk is gonna get more serious. Maybe you guys will start talking more about commitment and stuff. And Sagittarius is generally an optimistic sign, and Mercury just sprints through signs. It spends like 18 days in each sign, barely 3 weeks. Yeah, so on November 10th, as soon as it enters Sagittarius, as soon as Mercury enters Sagittarius, it's going to make a square to that Saturn in Pisces. And this aspect is depressing because Saturn is depressing. Yeah, so whatever idea or thought you have, when you feel like doing it, like boom, like Saturn's going to be like, no. Like he's going to put an obstacle. Okay? So it can feel frustrating. But again, thankfully, this is a very temporary transit. It's active for only a day or two. Next, on November 11th, Mars in Scorpio is going to make an opposition to Uranus in Taurus. And now, this aspect screams impulse because Mars is action. Uranus is sudden surprises, okay? And so when these two are combined together, it's like sudden action, like impulse, okay? So I would say on that day, on November 11th, there can be a lot of like nervous energy, if that makes sense. Like when you feel like hyperactive, because Uranus rules the nervous system and Mars is action, so it kind of like activates our nervous system. So yeah, it can be a hectic day, so to speak. Next, on November 13th, we have a new moon in Scorpio, on the 20th degree of Scorpio. And this new moon is going to make an opposition to Uranus in Taurus, in your sign. So, new moon. That means like you can expect news, decisions, announcements around this date, November 13th, plus or minus 4 days. And also, this is the first new moon after the eclipses. Okay, so that means the events associated with the Libra solar eclipse might play out around this new moon for some Tauruses. I'm not saying this is true for all Tauruses. I'm just saying that, like, for some it might have been like, oh, we had all of these eclipses, but nothing really happened. Well, it's because sometimes the eclipses play out a month after. Okay, so those Tauruses, if you didn't receive any news, if nothing really happened in October, I would say around this time you can expect some news. Okay, next. And since Tauruses, this is your seventh house, so a new moon in your seventh house, that means like a new chapter, new energy in your relationships. Relationship area. You get only one new moon each year in this area, so it should be a great time. Next, it should be a great time to go on dates and stuff. Next, on November 18th, we have the Scorpio Sun conjunct Mars in Scorpio on the 25th degree, and this is happening in your relationship house. And now, this is important because Mars and Sun conjunction doesn't happen very often. It happens, I think, only once every year and a half. Yeah, and it doesn't happen this conjunction doesn't happen in Scorpio very often. So, yeah, so a new chapter in your relationships. Yeah, starting, because it starts a new cycle. The conjunction of Sun and Mars. So it starts a new cycle in your relationships. It should be interesting. And what else? On November 22nd, the Sun is going to enter Sagittarius. So it's going to leave your 7th house and it's going to enter your 8th house. 8th house is the house of commitment, right? When you like fully commit to your partner. It's when you start sharing resources with your partner. Intimacy, when you start sharing secrets. Okay, those are 8th house matters. Next, on the same day, on November 22nd, Libra Venus is going to make an opposition to Chiron. And now this is a very minor energy. Like Chiron is a wounded healer, so there might be some minor healing in your relationships because Venus sees relationships, but it's not something prominent. I think you'll barely even notice it. Yeah. Next. So on November 24th, Mars is going to enter Sagittarius. So as you can see, the planets are leaving your 7th house of relationships and starting to line up in your 8th house. Okay, they're going to transit your 8th house. So from relationships, flirtation, dating, into more serious commitment stuff. Yeah, and so Mars in the 8th house. And so it's great for intimacy. Okay. Great for I don't know, bedroom life, so to speak. Next, and finally, at the very end of the month, we have a full moon in Gemini. And Gemini, for you guys, that is your 2nd house, dear Tauruses. So the luminaries will be illuminating your financial houses. The sun is going to be in your 8th house of shared resources, your partner's money, and the moon is going to be in your own resources, your income. Okay, so it's going to be like my money versus your money, like my stuff versus your stuff. Like, I'm gonna give you this much, how much are you going to give me for this? Okay, so that kind of energy. And full moons are culminations, illuminations, when things become clear. And this is the first full moon after the lunar eclipse. Okay, so again, that means the events associated with that Taurus lunar eclipse might play out around this full moon in Gemini. So some Tauruses, please pay attention. Okay, and so Tauruses, this is your 2nd house, so there might be some sort of like culmination, achievement around your finances. Maybe some things will become clear around your finances. Maybe this is like the time when you get like a pay raise. Okay, because full moons do that. You get only one full moon in this area of your life every year. So yeah, like if you are expecting like a raise at work, I would say maybe around this time it will finally come. It will be announced. And so also, this full moon means that after this full moon, the eclipses are over. I mean, at least the most intense parts, the peak of eclipse energy is over. So after this full moon, life should be back to normal, more or less. Okay? And so this is it for November, dear Tauruses. I know it was kind of boring because nothing really interesting happens in November. We have those oppositions, 3 oppositions in the beginning of November. So again, as I said, for you Tauruses, this is very relationship-oriented time. So me and you, like my partner and me, like that kind of like exchange of energy. Like the oppositions kind of like require compromise. They require focus. And then Saturn is gonna station direct in your friendship house. So if there have been like delays, frustrations since June in your friendships, after November, things will be back to normal in that area. Next, we have new moon in Scorpio in the middle of November. So a new chapter in your relationships. Okay, and also we have that conjunction of Sun and Mars in Scorpio, so like double indication of a new cycle in your relationships. So even though not many events happen in November, I think for you Tauruses, this is very important relationship wise this November. And what else? And at the very end we have a full moon in Gemini. So yeah, this is it, dear Tauruses. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe. And also remember that I offer readings. So if you would like a birth chart reading, synastry reading, astrocartography reading, or transits, please email me. Okay, I was really terrible last month. It took me forever to get back to so many customers. I apologize for that. It's just so many things happened in October for me, like someone who was like a family member to me has passed away. So and I was grieving, so I apologize for delayed answers. Okay, so I hope to see you guys in December, dear Tauruses. Have a wonderful November. Bye.